March just got a whole lot sweeter at DQ Grill and Chill. Enjoy the blizzard of the month. Mint Oreo, packed with creamy mint and crunchy Oreo pieces. Want extra crunch? Try the new Crunchin' Oreo Cone Dip. Crispy, chocolatey perfection in every bite. And make sure you download the DQ mobile app. Now through April 6th, you can get an 85-cent blizzard by spending $1. Only redeemable through the DQ app. DQ Grill and Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Light him up, Colin!
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine.
Russo and Rizzo live from Hurricane Grill and Wings. Hot start for our pal Christian Cat. It's Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Christian Cat with you live on site, having a good time today on a Friday edition of the program, March the 28th. It is Mike, Colin, on a beautiful Friday afternoon here in South Florida, down in Boynton Beach. So come on down and come get some wings at Hurricane Grill and Wings in Boynton Beach. That's where Mike and I are for the next 2 hours, streaming live on YouTube at ESPN West Palm, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X. Also on your radio dial, ESPN 106.3. A lot happened yesterday. You had the Sweet 16. You had MLB opening day. You had the Sweet 16, the first 4 games of the two-setter, which will come up and finish off tonight. And you had a packed night in the NBA as Taylor Jenkins, the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, was fired. The Chicago Bulls, came back and probably had 3 3-pointers in the last 10 seconds of their game in regulation including a half-court game winner from Josh Giddey against the Lakers.
A heave, Colin.
A heave. And you had Cooper Flagg dominate. You had Alabama dominate. You had Calipari collapse a little bit. And lots to talk about. We got John Fanta of college basketball on Fox and NBC Sports joining the program a little bit in about 20 minutes. So stick around for that as we do a little college hoops with our pal John Fanta. In the meantime, Arkansas and Texas Tech were in a bit of a classic, an OT game that was very exciting, especially towards the end of the game, and in which Arkansas played well throughout the game, 16-point lead with 10 minutes to go, and Texas Tech finished off with a 16-3 run to finish off regulation, including a 3-point shot to tie the game with 9 seconds remaining in regulation. It went back and forth a bit in overtime. Texas Tech scores with about 8 seconds to go on a 2-point jumper to take the lead. And then DJ Wagner tried to get a step-back jumper to tie it up on his end, and it did not work out. 16-3, they collapsed. It was the second biggest lead forfeited in the Sweet 16 in the NCAA's history with that much time remaining. 16 points.
And also another statistic, Coach Calipari 35-0 when leading by 6+ points going into halftime. So 35-1 now after that game. I don't know why he didn't call timeout. You know, basketball 101. Now, I won't get Cal. We'll talk, Cal. I know you're big on you should have fouled, you're up 3, and I understand the point. I wasn't necessarily on that. When you go down, though, and you got 10 seconds left, and by the time you look at the clock and you get past half court, there's 7 seconds left in the game, call timeout. You have a timeout. I don't understand why Cal didn't call a timeout when he saw DJ Wagner not doing much of anything. And Wagner statistically, he didn't have that bad of a game, but I could argue he was playing for the other team from about the 10-minute mark on in the second half. Call a timeout, Cal. He's going nowhere. You're going to get a bad shot.
Well, granted,
Call
Wagner
a
did
timeout.
score the last bucket before. The previous possession, Wagner was the one who scored that.
Sure, and listen, that's a Calipari guy that goes back to Kentucky. He had him with the Wildcats for the year before he went to Arkansas. So that's his guy. He trusts him. I understand it. But golly, Coach, call a timeout and draw something up. I'm not going to kill him for the free throw, Kyle. I understand why he would. And listen, I felt bad because I texted Kyle and I go, Kyle, they didn't make free throws all night. We went back and looked at the box scores. 19-22, Arkansas made free throws. So I'll eat a crow on that. But with Calipari's track record and his team shooting free throws late in the game in the NCAA tournament, I don't necessarily blame him for not wanting to foul and live and die by the free throw, which he got burned on with numerous teams before. But I will get on him for not calling a timeout. You got to slow that play down and draw something up. I mean, you lost control of the game the moment you went to overtime. You lost control of the game the moment you went to overtime.
Before then, the thing about Calipari that interests me is,
and I love
for
Cal.
somebody who is a Hall of Fame All-Star coach, he's an excellent recruiter. He's an excellent motivator. He knows how to develop talent. He's had more talent than anybody else in collegiately. He is excellent then. But when the clipboard comes out and Calipari is going to have to X and O his way to a victory, when he's going to have to, when he is leaning into, he's going to have to outthink the other side, that's where Calipari struggles.
Sure.
He is not an X and O coach. That is not him. He is a elite developer. He will get younger guys in there. He has 9-10 new players a year. He is an ultimate recruiter, and everybody who goes through him, I'm sure there was 3 All-Stars, NBA All-Stars on that Arkansas team last night. I'm sure there's 3 of them. So if that's the case, and he's got that much talent, and they're hucking threes, doing 5 out the last 5 minutes of the game against Texas Tech as they're rumbling back with 4 threes in the last 6 possessions of the game, I can't sit here and say that Calipari put on any sort of he put on the goggles. Cal, listen, I understand the argument that with 9 seconds remaining for a guy who shot 1 of 9 to tie up the game, Williams, that is, on Texas Tech, to not foul up 3. I would have. Anytime you're up 30 seconds left, up 3, I would foul. I'd turn it into a free throw game. You kill possessions. You take away the flow of the game. I would have done it with 10, 12 seconds remaining before they started to really get into a play. But he didn't. I see both sides. I would have. Your team is shooting well free throw wise, and they decide to foul to let the kid play straight up, and they tie the game. And same thing in overtime when you skip over. You got 5 seconds left. He's at the top of the key. He's dribbling around. There's nothing going on. Cal, you have a timeout for a reason. Use it.
Burn it.
Use it. But the thing is about Calipari is he always like this. When he has to outthink the other coach, when he has to out X and O the other side, that is not his strong suit. That is not his game plan. He is a motivator, he is a recruiter, and he is a developer. He is not an in-game, let's think of it, let's be brilliant type of coach. That is not Calipari's game, and you saw it last night.
From watching a lot of Cal, being a Kentucky fan, he trusts his my take is he trusts his players too much. And maybe it is he isn't pulling the clipboard out and going, hey, we got to run this way, we got to do that.
Now we're hucking threes. Yeah. Let's go. Go to the basket.
He trusts his players to a fault. That's the one thing I'll say about Coach Calipari that used to drive me nuts. He wouldn't necessarily get on his guys to, you got to do this, I want us to do this. It would just be go play. You guys are the better team.
You need more
go
talent.
Play.
You guys are all NBA players. Go play. And I think Cal signed up for that.
He did.
When he leaned into it. He's an NBA factory.
Correct.
He's not going to win 10 championships.
He's not, and that's his fault, Colin. And that's how you would say he's not X and O. He's not that. I would say he trusts his guys too much.
I think it's because he's not an X and O guy.
Fair.
They don't have brilliant offenses.
Fair.
They never do.
Fair.
They have brilliant players.
Fair.
That Arkansas team tremendously underperformed comparatively to the talent. That Kentucky team last year tremendously underperformed comparatively to the talent that was on the roster.
They were a good regular season team. They just blew it against Jack Golke.
And then all of a sudden, the Jack Golke and the Oakland team, the guy who shoots 9 threes a game, makes the first threes, and we're not. And
Can I say something? Only Calipari loses like that last night. Hang on, let me finish. The rimmed out free throw that was in the bucket 3 different times, it falls out. And then the guy who was 1 for 9 hits the 3 with a hand in his face. Only Calipari loses like that. The Jack Golke who had 15 three-pointers the time before.
Call it adjustment, please.
The coach, hang on, Colin, not finished. St. Peter's and that damn coach who I don't even remember his name.
Gene Holloway.
I don't even remember his name because I don't want to remember his name, Colin. Only Cal loses like that in tremendous fashion.
Because Cal doesn't coach well at the end of the game. He's not an end-of-the-game coach.
To your point, it could be he's not X and O's guy. He's not going to outthink. I think it's a strung of bad luck. I think it's rotten luck. A lot of it is rotten luck, and a lot of it is trusting his players too much. That's my 2 cents on Cal. I cannot believe that 3 went in last night.
It doesn't matter about the 3. Mike, they had a 16-3 run to finish the game. This is less about Texas Tech and more about Arkansas.
The free throw was halfway down 4 different times, and then that guy. You said he was 1 for 9. That guy closes his eyes and toilet bowls a 3-pointer in to tie the game with 5 seconds left. I can't take that.
They had 4 threes in the last 6 possessions.
I was sick for Cal.
I'm
sorry.
Sick for Cal? I was sick of Cal.
I was sick for Calipari.
I think this is Calipari through and through. At a certain point, you got to think about the underlying variable. Losing games like this. Blowing a 16-point lead with 10 minutes to go. When you're letting your team go 5 out with 10 minutes to go, hucking threes left and right with a bunch of guys trying to play hero ball. Instead of Xing and knowing your way to a victory or trying to make an adjustment here and there, Calipari doesn't do that. He never has.
He did when in 2012 when they won the national championship.
That team was better than everybody.
Kansas.
I don't want to hear that. That team was better than everybody. That team would have killed anybody.
And I'll listen to the team that went undefeated that lost to Wisconsin. I'll listen to that. If you want to sit here and tell me Bo Ryan out X and O'd him, fine. I'll listen to that one. Last night, though, and that game, and I'll go as far as this whole
So how are you going to lead this with he should have called the timeout but not give him flack for not doing the X's and O's properly? How are you going to lead with the fact that he should have called the timeout, but then this is all bad luck? Calipari had every opportunity to close this game.
That 3-pointer and the missed free throw that was halfway down, that was in regulation. I'll get on Cal for not calling a timeout when you're down 2 and you need a bucket to send it to a second overtime. That's why I'm on that. I'm on it because I don't think it shouldn't even have gotten to overtime. I think it was rotten luck that it got to overtime. But to the point,
16-3 run, Mike.
To the point of, you could grill me for that because I really thought he should call a timeout. That's my 2. I will get on Cal. That's the one thing I'm going to get on Calipari today is he should have called the timeout.
This is an overlying
he should have called the timeout.
He doesn't outthink the other sideline. He has excellent players, and I'm sure multiple of them are going to be great NBA pros.
Can we agree that nobody expected this Arkansas team to even be in that position last night?
Fine. Run away with that. But they had a 16-point lead with 10 minutes to go. I don't care about the fact that whether they should have been there or not. I care about the fact that they were there and basically had every chance to close it, and he couldn't do it. That's what I care about.
I think when the great Coach Cal goes to the boosters and Mr. Tyson Chicken Man and goes, this is what I did this year, they're thrilled.
Fine.
Arkansas is thrilled to bits with what happened.
But you're trying to make this big picture all of a sudden where I'm trying to
dissect
the fact that he blew that second half.
Because I won't say a damn bad word about my guy Cal, man. He should have called timeout. I'll say that. I'm not going to
fouled up 3.
I'm not going to sit here and say a guy who has a national championship and has been to 6 Final Fours. I can't sit here and call him not tactically a good coach. I can't do it.
Clipboard comes out. And he starts to struggle.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. He's been to 6 Final Fours. He should have won that damn Memphis game if Derrick Rose mixed the damn free throw. It comes down to damn free throws with Cal's team. The rim out last night.
What is that a reflection of? What is that a reflection of?
I think it's the players not performing.
Oh, it's all the players not performing. How many NBA All-Stars have he coached?
A lot.
Booker. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Towns, Marcus Camby at UMass.
Gilgeous-Alexander played in that Sweet 16 game that they lost at you. He played bad, Kyle.
He played
very bad.
Many pros. It's not about a talent. It's not about the players. If it's about anything, it's accept that. But those players are what? They're not suited to close a game? That's how Calipari puts his teams together. This is a Calipari problem. You can't point the fingers at just the players when he changes the players every single year and the same thing happens? How is that the players' fault continuously? How is that the players' fault every single year when he goes 9 new guys every single year? He sends the other guys in the NBA or the transfer portal, and he brings in 9 new ones, and the same thing happens as last year. How is that a player problem? That is a coach problem.
He's been, to be fair, the last couple of teams in Kentucky that failed, Colin, he had a lot of guys come back. And even this Arkansas team, he took a lot of his guys from Arkansas from Kentucky to Arkansas.
This is a brand new team. This is a brand new team.
Listen, this is
all I'm saying. Cal is a good guy.
Avoiding,
Cal is a good guy.
I don't think you're giving him enough credit for 6 Final Fours in the national championship.
He's a Hall of Fame coach.
And 3 or 4.
He is not an excellent. He is not an outthinking.
College guy's been to 3 or 4 national championships.
Well, give me some examples here outside of the fact that he had outstanding teams with outstanding players. Marcus Camby at UMass. Marcus Camby at UMass was the second pick in the NBA draft.
My favorite year was 2014 as an 8 seed when they had no business beating Wichita State. They had no business beating the Donovan Mitchell Louisville team.
They
had no business beating
Michigan.
Michigan. They had no business beating Wisconsin. Colin, those teams played well and he coached great.
And then that team came back the next year and they went undefeated. That team was outstanding. There was 5 pros on that team.
But at the same time, that year, they weren't expected to do anything. They were an 8 seed.
All I'm saying, that was a coaching malpractice last night.
I don't know, man.
It was. Yeah, I don't know how you could look at the players when this happens every single year. We're talking about how they lost to Oakland, how they lost to St. Peter's, how they blew the game last night. Listen, Calipari's had a lot of success, and he was great at Memphis when he had Rose there, and he was great at UMass, and
it's unreal at Kentucky.
And he was great at the beginning part of those Kentucky years. But those Kentucky
First
years,
10 years, Kyle.
Booker,
time, bud.
Anthony Towns. How many lottery picks? More than anybody. He's got 50. He's coached 50 first-round picks. 50. And I think that's the number. 50. 5-0. And comparatively to some of the other coaches that are getting what out of this, that, to me, a little overrated. That's what I'll say. A little overrated. Is it fair for me to say that Calipari blew that game yesterday? I think that's totally fair to say. 16-3 run to finish off that game. And you're letting your guys go 5 out, trying to huck shots. Call a timeout. Try to set something together. Maybe go to the basket for once. What is this, all the players' fault? What about last year? What about the year before? Was it the players' fault then too? That's not fair. You can't do that. That's not fair because this is a college coach's sport. It always has been, always will be. And they're the reflection of players playing good or bad. When the Ohio State players played so terribly against Michigan, were we yelling? Sure, we gave Will Howard his flag. Were we yelling at Ryan Day?
I yelled at the whole lot.
We were yelling at Ryan Day.
We were yelling at Ryan Day.
We were yelling at Ryan Day. So all of a sudden, it's the players' problem, though. Because the players
yelling at the
field.
players. I was yelling at the players. I was yelling at everybody.
They had so much talent. They had so much talent.
I was yelling at everybody.
But why did we give so much flack to Ryan Day? Because they had so much talent, and you got to succeed with all that talent.
But can I ask you?
And he finally did.
You think there are 3 All-Stars on that Arkansas roster?
Probably. Because think about Cal's track record.
I think the Brazil kid's going to be good. I'm not.
Boogie Flan's going to be a pro. DJ Wagner's probably going to be a pro. Brazil's going to be a pro.
He played him out of the game, Wagner, and he was the one taking the awful shots at the end of the game.
I don't care what you think about it. Think about track record here. You don't want to bring up the track record. You brought up the Kentucky track record 10 minutes ago, but now we don't want to talk about the track record with the players. How is that fair? So we're going to bring up the track record with his previous team's success, but we're not going to bring up the track record with the players. I'm assuming that this team, with all that NIL money, is going to have a couple good NBA pros on it.
I'm trying
Regardless of the fact, they just beat St. John's. So a massive success this season was, and they started 0-5. They had a terrible start to the season. It took a while to get his footing. He beat Kentucky at Rupp. Fine, I like Calipari, but when the clipboard comes out and he's going to need to dice his way to victory, Calipari doesn't do that. I don't understand why. That's just my takeaway. I don't think he does.
So talent is the reason for 6 Final Fours and a national championship.
I think Calipari is a very good coach.
Not necessarily his coaching ability.
Calipari is a very good coach. And I think at some point or other, Calipari made the internal decision that he is going to be an NBA factory in favor of a multi-championship winning head coach. Is that fair? I think it's not one or the other, but I think he's leaning to one side. I think he is more interested in getting guys prepared for the next level than he is to win a title.
I think a lot of it, you'll make fun of me for this, but I think a lot of it's rotten luck too. A couple of those years they played UConn, Kemba Walker was unbelievable, Boatwright was unbelievable, but I understand the point.
Luck is luck until it happens 3 times in a row. then we got to start reconsidering. We got John Fanta of college basketball on Fox and NBC Sports, a Field of 68 commentator as well. The college basketball man himself, John Fanta, will be joining us next live on air on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-880-6363. That's 1-800-880-6363. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-880-6363. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
March just got a whole lot sweeter at DQ Grill and Chill. Enjoy the blizzard of the month. Mint Oreo, packed with creamy mint and crunchy Oreo pieces. Want extra crunch? Try the new Crunchin' Oreo Cone Dip. Crispy, chocolatey perfection in every bite. And make sure you download the DQ mobile app. Now through April 6th, you can get an 85-cent blizzard by spending $1. Only redeemable through the DQ app. DQ Grill and Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, proudly representing the residents of South Florida since 1985, and proud supporter of Inter Miami FC on ESPN West Palm. Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath has attorneys across South Florida ready to fight for your rights. They've recovered billions for their clients, and you won't pay anything unless you win your case. If you have been injured, call the attorneys at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, 561-867-4117, or online at foryourrights.com. Main office in West Palm Beach.
Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in. We begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire. Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on now from Hurricane Grill and Wings. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo with you on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Streaming live on YouTube as well at ESPN West Palm on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X. Right now, we got a little college basketball action. The remainder of the Sweet 16 games on tonight. We had some Sweet 16 action last night. Let's bring in somebody who is well-versed in the college basketball sphere. You can hear him on Fox, on college basketball on Fox and NBC Sports as well, the Field of 68 commentator as well. It is the Cleveland native, none other than Mr. John Fanta. Joining us now. Mr. Fanta, how we doing today? What's going on?
Johnny, my guy.
Guys, it is great to be joining you. Happy Friday, happy madness. 4 more games tonight. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's ride.
Well, buckle up. Before we get into tonight, John, I want to get your thoughts on what happened, what transpired last night. Of course, we had the late slate of games that were interesting. We'll get into Alabama and everything, but I want to start with our Arkansas and that Calipari game. John, Mike Rizzo and I just went back and forth about the ethicality of how Calipari handled the ending to that game. I personally thought you should have considered fouling, even with the 10 seconds remaining towards the end of regulation, and we're both on the same page that he should have called a timeout there at the end of overtime with a chance to tie. I wanted to get your takeaways. How do you think the Calipari handled the end of that Arkansas-Texas Tech game in the regulation and OT? Go ahead.
Absolutely would have fouled. A lot of people say, well, there was too much time on clock, so that's fine. If they launched the three with 20 seconds to go, they make the three. That's okay. I don't mind that because you still got a really good shot. That came late. That three, then I want to say there were 7 or 8 seconds for them, and they couldn't convert.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of when it gets to 12. If it's 12 or less, I don't care what the situation is, you foul. You got to get your body on them. You got to foul up 3. You got to preserve your lead. Once that happens, they weren't winning the game. I'm just telling you guys, right? Like there's laws of basketball. When they gave up that lead there, I just thought to myself, they are not winning this game. Now, let's talk about the timeout. I actually am a bit contrarian here. I'm okay with playing it out because I've also found when you call a timeout, you could run a play. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. John Calipari has not made a living off of being some elite X's and O's guy. He's not drawing up all these plays, John, that are intricate sets.
You guys are a tough
John,
crowd.
I completely agree with you. I'm 100%. When he has to outthink the other sideline, things go haywire.
Johnny,
go ahead.
Johnny, I'll take 6 Final Fours and a national championship. But, what a strung of unluckiness, too. The free throw is halfway down. It goes down 3 different times it comes out. And then the kid who shot 1 for 9 from 3 rattles it home. Everything that needed to happen, John, happened in order for Texas Tech. And I told myself, I was like you, John. I said, if this game goes to overtime, there's no way that Arkansas and Cal are going to win this. The momentum's gone.
No. It's the momentum being gone. I'm okay with playing it out and going to the next play and trying. I would have gone for 3. Forget about the 2. They took an awkward shot. It was weird. You got to get into John L. Davis there. They did not. And you know what? Texas Tech deserved to win that game. Not that Arkansas deserved to lose, but it was a 16-point game with 10 and change to go. You got to give credit to 2 guys, Darion Williams, who went 2 for 12 in the first half and found a way in the second half to shed that. A lot of these players nowadays, guys, I don't mean to get on the soapbox and say kids these days, but I'm just telling you what coaches tell me. Coaches will tell me all the time, a kid misses his first 2 shots, they get in their own head. Like me on a Little League baseball diamond when I strike out the first at bat, and it's like they don't have the mental toughness to recover. Darion Williams shot 2 for 12 in the first half. You guys hooped some. You know what you normally do. You'd be like, I suck tonight. I'm done taking shots. I'm done trying to help my team in the shooting column. I'm just hurting my team. Well, guess what? They needed him to make shots to have a chance of winning the game. No chance McMillan. I thought Williams was tremendous, and the freshman Christian Anderson had the best performance of his career. He stepped up in a humongous way.
John Fanta joining the program now on Russo and Rizzo. John, let's shift to that Alabama-Duke matchup that's going to be coming about. I'm curious. Alabama last night, you knew they were due for it, 25 threes. I don't care where. They could have played anywhere in the world. Nobody in college basketball was beating Alabama yesterday with the way they played. And then Duke looks to be the juggernaut of the bunch. Are you in favor of Alabama maintaining some momentum here, or are they going to run into a screeched halt in just about 24 hours?
I think it could end up being the de facto championship game. I think it's
wow. You're that high in Bama.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely. Look, their explosiveness. They're the most explosive team in the tournament. and Duke is the most complete team in the tournament. When you combine those two things, we're in for a heck of a battle. Look, with Alabama, are they going to make 25 threes tomorrow night? No. But this is a team that can get you thrown. Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, partner. It's a bit of delay on my end. I was going to say, how good is Flag, John? You know, you mentioned Alabama, you mentioned the threes and whatnot that they're able to do. I look at the other side of the court for Duke. I think they have the best player, and I think it's that simple.
No, I think Duke will win. I think Duke will win this game, and I do think that they'll win the national championship. But I think that they'll get tested along the way. If they get Alabama and Houston in their next two games, Houston can lock you down defensively. It can make you play a real grinder of a game, and that's what it may take. Half-court basketball, look, playing close to a perfect game offensively. They've got the shot making to give Duke some problems. Just hanging in and grinding the game down. Alabama's not going to do that. But they can put pressure on Duke. Here, to your Cooper Flag question. Cooper Flag is the best freshman in college basketball that I've covered, and I think he's in the top two. It's either him or Carmelo Anthony for the best freshman in the last 25 years. Cooper Flag is going to be a 15-year NBA All-Star and an NBA champion.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the one thing that makes me nervous about Duke is towards the end of games, they have movement, but a lot of it is just like, hey, Coop, here's the ball. Go make something happen. Luckily, when they did that against Kentucky at the early part of the year, Cooper wasn't really ready for that, Flag that is. But nowadays, he is such a better player than he was even 5 months ago. He was a first-round pick. 5 months later, he is such a more complete basketball player. He is a threat. Now, John, I want to get one more thought on the games from last night before we move on to tonight. From my perspective here, I'm sitting here after the games last night. I didn't like how late they were, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the Maryland-Florida game. Maryland probably with the five-man lineup out-rebounded by Colorado State. They're going to get out-rebounded by Florida. Probably never had a chance in the game, but now all of a sudden the storyline around Maryland was what Kevin Willard, their head coach, was going to do.
Right.
And he handled it poorly, I thought, post-game. He handled poorly, I thought, throughout the week. What was your takeaway and what is your prediction on what Kevin Willard, that Maryland job, have we seen the last of him with Maryland? Or does he truly not know what he's going to do? Or do you think this Villanova thing really has some roots?
Well, Maryland is on the plane back from San Francisco right now. Could you imagine a longer flight with this situation hanging over you? It's all dependent on whether or not Willard sat in the exit row. No, I'm just kidding. The fact is,
like a parachute.
It's in the doghouse, Johnny, in the doghouse.
It's a really interesting situation, guys. I mean, look, Villanova has the basketball pedigree and tradition. It's a basketball-first school. They've got deep pockets. They've won 2 national championships in the last decade. Of course, Jay Wright built a monster. Kevin Willard faced that monster for a number of years. He and Jay Wright became rivals. The one team that gave Villanova problems in the Big East year in and year out was Kevin Willard's Seton Hall teams. They beat Villanova in the 2016 Big East Tournament Championship game. Villanova proceeded to win the national championship. So that friendship dates back a while. Kevin loved New Jersey. Villanova, certainly closer and not far from the Jersey Shore for him and his family and his 2 boys and his wife, Julie. I think there's a bunch of things that have come into play. The main one, to me, there's 2 things that signal why this relationship with Maryland could end. Number one, in January, Willard complained about his Big Ten schedule. His athletic director at the time, Damon Evans, came out and said, "We don't complain at Maryland about scheduling. Go and win games." That was a red flag. You're supposed to back up your coach. Number 2, he asked the university. Now, this is elementary, guys, but, you guys know this. You're around sports enough. Sometimes the stupidest stuff can cause big problems. He asked the university for his team to stay in New York City an extra night and go see a show in New York and celebrate Christmas as a program. I believe to get out there an extra day earlier. They played a game in Brooklyn, and he wanted to do one extra night with his team for a team activity. The university said, "I'm sorry, due to budget, we can't do that." Are you kidding me? You're a Big Ten school. Who cares? It's one night in a hotel and going to a show. Do you know what some of these programs spend on their different events and different things. You guys have seen the video of Alabama out on the water and Ohio State doing crazy things during the summer.
Right.
Like, come on, man. That's small town. That's small time. I think that's where Kevin's like, look, I need to pay for a roster, but if I'm not allowed to control my program, why am I here? Why am I doing this? So if he does leave, which I still think it's 70-30, 70 Villanova, I do think it's 30 Maryland. If he leaves, he's leaving because, unfortunately, Maryland operated too corporatized to his liking, and he'd rather go to Villanova, a small Catholic school where he would be king.
Johnny, do you think if he goes to Villanova, with how college basketball is now with the NIL, is he an immediate threat to Pitino, to Hurley, to everybody in that conference?
Yes. Anybody as the Villanova head coach should be. Kyle Metsoon, was the guy to replace Jay Wright. You guys know this. You never want to be the guy who replaces the guy. You want to be the guy who replaces the guy who replaces the guy. So that would be Willard here in this role. And, yes, he would be an immediate threat to Dan Hurley, Rick Pitino. You know why? Those Villanova people drink a lot of wine. They play a lot of golf. They eat a lot of cheese, and they love watching basketball. And as a result, they've got deep pockets, and they got a lot of student tie events. I can tell you guys, that is a donor base that has seen success. And when you've tasted national championships, I think we'd all agree, in terms of brands in college basketball, disagree with me if you'd like, I'd still put Villanova with their last decade of success under Jay, even though the last couple of years has been tough. I'd still put them as a top 10 to 12 identifiable brand to guys our age in college hoops.
I agree with that in the sense that Nova is still like a top-tier job. Now, I think maybe we're starting to lean more and more into the fact that it might have been just Jay, but to your point, they've won championships. They get it. They get it. Now, John, you're a big East guy. I swear to God, I'm a UConn guy. Every UConn game I tuned into, you're on the call. So you're as attached to the Big East as anybody. Are you worried about that conference in any sense? With no football money, teams shifting in or out. Are you worried about that in any sense with the realignment of college sports? I'm curious.
I am not. I am not, because in basketball, they're going to have more money to spend than some of these football-driven schools, at least in the imminent future. With the way the revenue sharing is set up, and this is something that I don't think the casual people are really tuned in on, and that's not a problem, but that's why we have these conversations. Guys, you need to circle this date on your calendar right now, Monday, April 7th, the day of the national championship game in basketball. On that day, on Capitol Hill, the House settlement case, that will all be either resolved or postponed. There's an anticipation that revenue sharing gets passed in college sports. If revenue sharing gets passed, each athletic department, so Ohio State, Florida, William and Mary, Elon, Charleston, UCLA, Washington, Creighton, all these schools throughout the country, Cleveland State, will have up to, they're not going to, Cleveland State's not going to use it. They don't have this kind of funding.
Go Vikings, Johnny. Go Vikings, Johnny.
Go Vikings. We'll have up to $20-ish million to distribute to their athletic teams. So you know what Ohio State's going to do? Ohio State's going to say, perfect, $17 million to the football team. And the basketball team's going to say, wait a minute, what? Yeah, you guys are fine. Like $3 million good? $3.5 million good? Well, wait a minute, what about us? Okay, well, have you made the tournament recently? No. Okay, well, what have your results been? Well, we've been okay. Okay, our football team's the best in America, and we need to make sure it stays that way. And, our football team has a lot more players than your basketball team. Let's flip the case. UConn. Okay, well, how's your football team? Well, pretty good. All right, fine. But are we going to ever win a national championship? Well, no. All right, so let's fund the roster with $9 to $11 million. Okay, what about the basketball program? Well, it's less players, but we win national championships at UConn. All right, let's fund the roster with $8 million, $7 million. And we'll give the rest to women's basketball, 2 or 3. Gino Auriemma will win with that. There's my point. Without football, or without major football, some of these schools, if this rev sharing gets passed in the Big East, are going to be able to spend $8 to $12 million on funding their basketball teams, giving them an advantage over football-driven schools.
Johnny, where are you at on NIL? Like, obviously, it needs to be relegated. It needs a cap. I mean, John, I was joking around with buddies the other day. It's like baseball. No, there's no cap. It's how much you can spend. It's how much you can afford. I mean, this is no cap baseball money right now.
So my thing, Mike, is what I would like to see is at some point you're going to see a regulation just by virtue of people getting fatigue. Oh, I thought I was paying for a championship. I'm not? Well, then I'm not going to give the same exact amount. This is a testament to there's a lot of people out there in the college sports world where money's not an object. It's not. Now, this falls on the leaders in college sports, adults, who ignored this for years and turned the other eye. And as a result now, we have a major problem. I think in 3 to 5 years you're going to see some sort of collective bargaining where an athlete signs a contract for 2 or 3 years with the university, has to abide by certain rules, and we're going to get to a CBA. It's the only way. It is the only way. Now, part of that CBA, maybe you have to go to class. It's just part of the deal. I don't know about grades. I don't know what that'll look like, but as is, these guys are getting plenty of help from their academic offices. I'm not trying to say that players are not smart. I'm just saying they get a lot of things that are easily handled for them. Until we reach that point, it's a free market. Look, my answer is every player should get paid. Like, I'm okay with it. I think certain guys are getting paid way more than they end up being valued, and I think there's an overvaluing happening because it's so immediate right now. I do believe we're going to get to a leveling out process because I'm just going to be honest with you. There's certain guys getting paid close to 7 figures. I wouldn't pay him $10 right now.
John Fanta joining Russo and Rizzo live. John, a couple more things here before we let you go. Appreciate it. You're giving us a lot of great stuff here. Let's look at the games tonight. We saw 2 1 seeds yesterday, Florida and Duke. Duke a little bit with Arizona, Maryland a little bit with Florida. Relatively unchallenged towards the second half of the game. Now, with the Auburns and the Houstons of the world on the other side of tonight's games and throughout the weekend, can you see any of those 1 seeds challenged? Now, I think Michigan actually matches up pretty well with Auburn because of the 2 big guys in Broome. But what's your takeaway on what we're going to see tonight? Can any of those 1 seeds get challenged throughout the weekend?
Yeah, I do think Michigan can challenge Auburn because Michigan should be able to defend Auburn to a degree and stay in front. Creighton hung with Auburn for a little while with Ryan Kalkbrenner, so you'd have to think Michigan with the 2 big system should be able to. The key for Michigan is they can't turn the basketball over. Too many times this year they've fallen into turnovers, and it's cost their team games. Well, here's one trait that I love about Michigan. They've got 13 wins by 4 points or less. So they've played a lot of close games. Don't you think they could play one more with their season on the line? I like Michigan to cover tonight. Houston, I don't think they'll have any problem with Purdue. Why? Because they could shut you down offensively with the level at which they guard. They get up in you guys. That team gets up in you the moment you're off the bus. They give you no room to create space. None. Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer are going to have to go up against L.J. Cryer, Emmanuel Sharp, Milo Shuzan. Those guys are going to suffocate the Purdue backcourt, and Houston is not going to get out-rebounded. Houston's going to be the tougher team in that game. I think it's an absolute nightmare of a matchup for Purdue. I believe Houston will win tonight. I think they'll beat Tennessee or Kentucky. I love this team, and I do think this is Kelvin Sampson's year to get back to a Final Four. And what it would mean to be in San Antonio where his fans wouldn't have to travel very far to get there. But I do think we're going to see multiple ones. I think Texas Tech could test Florida. I had Florida winning the national championship, so I'm not going to back away from that. I think Michigan State, if I were to pick a 1 seed to go down this weekend, it's Auburn. To me, Michigan State can be better than Auburn. They can be tougher than Auburn. They can find a way past Auburn because if Jace Richardson plays well, he can negate a lot of what Auburn could do firepower-wise in the backcourt. I think the Tigers are the ones that are most in trouble.
And John, how about Jace Richardson at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, not scoring a point and arguably scoring the biggest bucket of the game in that second half versus New Mexico? I want to stay right there with Michigan State. Johnny, we just talked for 15 minutes about the NIL, about players getting paid. You want to know who doesn't give a damn about the NIL and has all 5 starters that have been with the program? That's Tom Izzo. Where you at with Izzo, and how does he continue to avoid the current landscape of 2025 and continue to get the second weekends?
Well, exactly, Mike. He's the exception. Look, he's got money. They help him out. but he is very stubborn in his ways. And it is cool to see guys like Pitino, guys like Izzo, even Rick Barnes of Tennessee, who I don't think gets enough credit. You know, they have a payroll, but they don't discuss NIL at their practices. They tell their kids this. Listen, boys, we'll work out the finances in the summertime. Here's what I need. I need you to give me X amount of hours per day. In season, I need 3 to 4 hours per day from you. Practice, recovery, treatment. Guess how many hours there are in the remainder of the day? I know this because this is what guys like Izzo and Pitino have said. How many hours are left in the day? 20. Those 20 hours, you behave, but you do what you need to do to live your life, and you represent our brand, but I'm not going to be in your business. You give me everything you have for this amount of hours per day, and we'll work out the payment on the side. But when we're in the lab, we don't discuss NIL. We don't discuss social media. We discuss ball. He's old school in that regard, but allows his kids to focus. He's hard on his kids. But, guys, listen, I got ADHD. I can't keep my focus for longer than 2 seconds. I think the majority of us do. We were all stuck in our houses in 2020. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. Guess what? I got to get yelled at every now and then to pay attention. I don't mind that approach if it comes from a place of love. Tom balances love with being hard on his kids beautifully. He's a maestro. I think he's one of the best motivators in sports history, and he's in his 16th Sweet 16. Why don't we talk about Tom Izzo as one of the all-time greats enough? We really should, because this guy, all he does is win.
John, last thing here, a selfish question before I let you go. Let's assume that Kevin Willard goes to Villanova and takes that job, which I'm under the impression of. Yeah. You don't answer the way you answer. Villanova doesn't not hire anybody throughout this period if they're not planning on him being the next head coach. That Maryland job, just for a selfish reason, is that Buzz Williams' job? Are they going to go small market there? I'm selfish. I think I would love if Luke Murray were to get that job as the UConn assistant. Where are you at with that if Willard were to move on? Last thing there, and then we'll let you go.
I think they'll go with the sitting head coach. My first call would be to Chris Beard, the head coach at Ole Miss. He's gotten his off-the-court issues, behind him, and that investigation was dropped. It allowed him to get back into it at Ole Miss. I think he's the best coach of the coaches that are out there. If I didn't go with Chris Beard, I can understand why they would hire Buzz Williams. Buzz has been trying to get his name out there for another job. Things have run their course at Texas A&M. I think he's ready for a new challenge. But those would be my top two. Another name to watch is Mark Byington at Vanderbilt. Don't be surprised if Maryland were to go after him.
Yeah, think he'd leave after 1 year, huh?
Johnny, first off, congratulations on the son coming into the world here. And number two, can you tell Colin to leave the guards alone? Can you tell Colin that the Guardians are going to win 90 games and win the division, and Kyle Manzardo is going to give the production that Josh Naylor did last year? Can you get him off my back a little bit?
Yeah, one of the biggest slam dunks in sports is to bet the Guardians over on the win total. Stephen Vogt was the right manager choice. That pitching staff is consistently strong no matter how many injuries they go through. I think the lineup, as long as second base proves to be okay, that lineup is more well-rounded, I think, than it's been. Stephen Kwan is a major league hitter. Kyle Manzardo is a major league hitter. They got multiple of them. We didn't have that a couple years ago. The guards aren't going anywhere. They're winning the AL Central Division. They can make a real run in the playoffs. And as for you, Colin, I go have some chicken wings because you're wrong.
Appreciate it, Johnny, my man.
They got more Guardians goggles than you can shake a stick at in this call right now. John, we appreciate the time, and we appreciate you giving us 20 minutes here on some college basketball. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Looking forward to speaking again soon.
My man, John. Thank you, brother.
Next time I come on with you guys, I'm going to tell some Michael Rizzo Strongsville Mustangs basketball stories because I got them.
You got us covered.
God, John.
Appreciate it, John. Have a good one. That's John Fanta, of course. You can hear him on college basketball on Fox and NBC Sports and Field of 68 as well. Mr. Big East himself. But we roll on here. We'll do a little NBA action. Taylor Jenkins fired out of the Memphis Grizzlies job. What the heck are they doing? 9 games remaining in the regular season for the Grizzlies, firing their coach at 5th in the Western Conference. We get into that and more next. Stick around for it. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
What's the Anna Jar and Levine difference? If you're the victim of a car crash, you will always speak to a lawyer. You'll always get the highest standard of care from our dedicated legal team, and we'll always fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. That's the Anna Jar and Levine difference. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Don't wait. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
In office, West Palm Beach.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Daredevil is born again on Disney+.
My name is Matthew Murdoch. I'm a lawyer. Exactly what kind of a lawyer are you? A really good one.
Critics everywhere agree it's the best Marvel television series. Gritty, intense, and elevated. It's Daredevil at his best.
If you step out of line, I will be there.
Marvel Television's Daredevil, Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
Attention, South Florida! The PGA Tour champions and the Pro Football Hall of Fame are teaming up for a one-of-a-kind event, the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational. From March 31st to April 6th, the action takes over the old course at Broken Sound in Boca Raton, featuring Hall of Fame legends like Warren Sapp, Calvin Johnson, Andre Reed, Rondé Barber, Chris Carter, and more. Tickets are on sale now at JamesHardyInvitational.com. Don't miss your chance to be a part of the home of legends.
The college basketball mania has begun, and you could be on your way to see the championship game live on April 7th with Duffy's Sports Grill's MVP March Mania giveaway. Every visit now through March 30th will earn you an entry. The more you visit, the better your chances to win. So grab your MVP card and head on over to Duffy's and enjoy their courtside favorites, famous award-winning jumbo wings, certified Angus beef burgers, and 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. At Duffy's, our game is always on.
Your golf tip of the day is presented by the Club at Lost Lake in Hope Sound. Side spin is never good for a putt. Even the slightest rotation left or right can knock your ball offline by feet. To avoid slicing your putt, draw a straight line all the way around your golf ball. Place the ball on the green with the line pointing directly at the hole for a relatively straight putt. When putting, use a smooth pendulum stroke. Hit the ball so that the line rolls end over end. If the line wobbles, side spin is affecting your putt. A great way to practice is with the push drill. Place the putter directly behind the ball and push it straight toward the hole, focusing on a smooth roll. Once you master this, gradually add your backswing to perfect your stroke. A ball that starts online tends to stay online, so take the time to align your shot carefully. Trust the process, and with practice, your consistency will improve dramatically. Remember, every detail matters when it comes to precision. For more on memberships, visit theclubatlostlake.com.
Let's get back to the Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Big thanks to John Fanta of college basketball on Fox NBC in the Field of 68 for joining us live on the program. 20 minutes there. If you missed any of the program, you want to listen back, go to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. All those great places. Also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter /X at ESPN West Palm. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with you. You got the Sweet 16, the second half of it basically coming on tonight. You get the Elite Eight this weekend. Opening day was yesterday in the MLB. You got the NBA, last 10 or so games of the regular season there. Stanley Cup's on the horizon. No better time to go get started than download the Hard Rock Bet app today. Go get it on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Go to hardrock.bet online to get started now, because Hard Rock is great because it's acclimated to both types of players. If you're the newer player and you're trying to get acclimated in your sportsbook for the first time, it's easy. Go check out the Discover page. Everything's very simply laid out. It's accessible. It's fun. It's engaging. Or if you're the experienced player and you're trying to put together a very intricate parlay, put as little as $1 up to 20 legs, or go check out the Discover page. See some of the games that Hard Rock is putting together for us, or you could check out some of the games that they have. I know they have battle of the different spreads right now. They have all the different promos. Go check it out on the Discover page on Hard Rock Bet. If you try it now, you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay, prop, over, whatever you like to bet in a game you choose. Win that first one to get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Hard Rock Bet offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. So put yourself in the shoes of Colin Russo for a second, who was in one of the great over-under hits of his life in this past NBA season with the Sixer under, which I hit about 3.5 weeks ago, the Cleveland over, which I hit about 4.5 weeks ago, and the Houston Rockets over, which I hit about a week and a half ago. My fourth of the bunch was the Memphis Grizzlies over at 47.5. They are 44-29 currently. They have 9 games remaining. They have a tough schedule the rest of the way. 8 of their 9 last opponents, either in the play-in or in the postseason. So they played the Thunder last night in Oklahoma City, and the game kind of got away from them towards the fourth quarter. They lost 125-104. The Grizzlies, mind you, out of the play-in, sitting at 44-29, a good 3-ish games ahead of the Clippers, who have played well, but in that 6th spot. Looking to be lined up with the Los Angeles Lakers once again in the first round of the playoffs. What do with 9 games remaining in the regular season? They fire their head coach, Taylor Jenkins, who has been there for 6 seasons, who has won 56 games.
What happened?
3 years ago. They had a bad year last year because they had so many injuries and the John Morant stuff, but they got rid of him. And they didn't get rid of him with 35 games remaining to let the next guy come in and get his feet wet. No, they got rid of him with a week and a half to go in the regular season, with 9 games remaining. And all of a sudden, with the you want to see their schedule with their interim head coach? I had a trouble pronouncing his name. I'm not even going to bother. They got the Lakers at home coming up on Saturday. Then they got the Celtics at home coming up on Monday. And then they got the Warriors at home coming up on Tuesday. That is what they have on the horizon. Then they got the Heat. They got the Pistons. They got good teams coming up. Then they finish off with the T-Wolves and the Nuggets. Hold on. You got a tough 9-game stretch. Colin Russo needs you to go 4-5 to win his over/under bet, and you're firing your head coach. Listen, I understand Jenkins is probably not the biggest upside head coach of the bunch, but to get rid of him with this time in the season, it's either going to go one of 2 ways, and I have an inkling that it's going to go the first of which. It's either going to happen like the Bucks when they fired Adrian Griffin when they were 30-13, or it's going to happen like when the Cavs fired David Blatt, your Cavs,
right,
and they took over with Ty Lue and won a championship. Well, it's going to happen like more like the Bucks if I had to put money on it.
It's not going to be the latter because that team had LeBron James, Kyrie Irving.
You could get away with it when you got LeBron
Love.
there.
Right.
You got LeBron
Hang on,
there.
though, Kyle. Prime Kyrie and prime Kevin Love, too. I think that's very
That team was also
underrated
30-11. That team was probably going to get back to the finals.
They'll be okay. They'd be okay. Kyle, they punted the season. As far as I'm concerned, firing your coach right before the NBA playoffs, 9 games. Would you say 9 games left on
They have 9 games left.
Partner, they punted the season. What the hell happened that you're firing a coach that, let's say what it is, too. Like, you believed in the guy, right? You kept him around when you were terrible last year. After John Morant, had his antics, you were terrible last year after that. You kept him around this year. And then with a playoff run looming, you're 5th in the Western Conference. The balance of seeding is still in the balance as well, and you fire your coach. You punted the year. You said, you know what, screw the playoff. You want to know what that told their fans? Screw the playoff run. We don't care about winning games in the playoffs, and we're going to get rid of our head coach, and we're going to look forward to next year. How do you think the fans feel today? How does a Memphis Grizzly fan feel today?
This is weird because he has coached in 4 playoff series for the Grizzlies, and he's lost 3 of them. And one of them was as a 2 seed going against the 7-seeded Lakers, and they lost at 6. So that's one thing. I'm not sure. He's 40 years old too.
Yes,
he's young. This guy's a young coach.
Colin, something must have happened.
You know what's weird? He's the 5th longest tenured coach in the NBA. Behind who?
Yeah.
Spoelstra, Malone, Pop, and Kirk.
Can I say something? And listen, folks, this is me speculating. I have no sources, no nothing. Did an HR incident happen?
The Ime Udoka, like one of those situations?
Did something happen at the workplace?
Doesn't sound like it because their PR came out and said this was a very tough decision.
Wow.
We didn't. This was.
Well, what a time to ruin your season. They ruined their season. They ruined their playoff run.
They were already reeling. They haven't played well. They had lost 5 of their last, I believe, 7 games. So I've been following because I've been trying to get my over. But now all of a sudden with 9 games remaining and a tough schedule, you get the Warriors still there, you get the Lakers still there, you get the Cavs still there, you get the Nuggets, you get the T-Wolves. All of them are going to be vying for playoff seeding as well. So some of these games, at least most of them, are going to be quite important.
Yep.
And you're sitting there with a new coach that is going to be a first-time head coach as an assistant to take this new team, which is probably understaffed comparatively to the other teams in the Western Conference in terms of top-end talent, and you're going to try to run it up with him. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe they light it up.
Is this Will Wade? Is this Will Wade-esque?
Maybe, but not even that. But maybe they just get rid of him, and he was so bad. And I've only watched
maybe he was
a handful of Grizzlies games. Maybe a handful of Grizzlies games throughout the year. I follow what's happening throughout the season, but to watch it game in and game out, it sounds like people were getting a little tired of him. But it's almost like an embarrassment of riches. You don't really know what you have until it's gone. It's similar to what the Bucks were all rejoicing when they let go of Adrian Griffin at 30-13 and hired Doc Rivers, and everything blew up.
Listen, maybe he was the problem. Maybe he was screaming at players behind the scenes, and they've had enough of him. Fine, whatever. All I got to say is, man, this was supposed to be the year the Grizzlies were supposed to get back to relevance, right? Last year was a nightmare with John Morant whistling Willies and whatever the hell happened at that strip club. All I know is this was the year that you were supposed to, hey, we're back in the playoffs. We're a respectable team again. We have solid players. I don't think this helps their case. And forgive me for thinking that they're going to lose seeding. Where are they at in the Western Conference? And then what's 6th place? What's 7th place? Are they at risk of going?
They're 2.5 games above the Clippers, and they're about 2 games behind the Lakers.
Okay, so and how many games in front of the Mickey Mouse play-in tournament?
Total,
they are. Because that's my question.
I believe about 2.5.
Okay, so they could end up in the Mickey Mouse play-in tournament.
They got the Celtics, Lakers, and Warriors coming up, and the Warriors are in the play-in tournament and desperately want to get out.
Live from Splash Mountain and Magic Kingdom, the Memphis Grizzlies and their interim head coach, who Colin and myself can't pronounce his last name.
This is an organization that has been struggling to find stability. He's had good years. They had a good year under Fizdale, and they shipped Fizdale out of town. Dave Yerger, they got him, and they shipped him out of town. Lionel Hollins was actually solid. They got rid of him.
Right.
This has never been an organization that has stuck with a coach for a long period of time.
I think Bickerstaff coached there,
Bickerstaff,
too.
Bickerstaff replaced Fizdale.
That's it.
Then they missed the postseason in his first full season, and then they fired him. So talk about a short-leash team for a team that's done a whole lot of nothing in the postseason as of late. But so now you're sitting there, and they got a guy who has been there for 6 seasons, who has been trending upward for the most part. If you want to put a blemish on his resume because of what happened last year when John Morant and the guns charges and Jaren Jackson not being healthy and the whole thing, that is the dumbest thing in the world. But if he's been struggling and you've been talking about the ceiling of the team and you're thinking, all right, well, Taylor Jenkins can't win us big playoff series. We can't make a run with him at the coach. All right, fine. You probably knew that coming into the season. You probably knew that at All-Star break. The fact that we're making this decision listen, I can't hate on the decision too much because I don't know. They're playing well. It's almost they're 15 games above 500. But if the ticky-tack stuff is really bothering the fans and you're upside in the a la J.B. Bickerstaff getting rid of him and bringing in Atkinson, that's one thing.
Right.
But the Cavs did it in the offseason.
Exactly.
You're doing this with 9 games remaining in the regular season.
Right.
The margin for error just shrunk a considerable amount.
And the reason I brought up the whole Will Wade thing, because it wasn't done the right way. Those were the questions we were asking ourselves with McNeese State. Was Will Wade in the right to tell McNeese I'm leaving while having a game? This wasn't done, in my opinion at least, Colin. This Memphis thing wasn't done the right way. I understand if you want to get rid of a man, wait until the end of the year. Like, I don't think there is any game, and we will eat our crow. Trust me, we'll eat our crow if Memphis.
I would love it. I would love it. Please go 7-2 to finish off the season.
We'll eat our crow, but and you brought up the Cleveland situation. I think JB was equally done with that team as the team was equally done with JB. So very weird. Very, very weird stuff going on right now in Memphis, and who knows, man? Maybe there was something behind this. Maybe there was something behind the scenes we're missing.
If you're looking to see some Pro Football Hall of Famers in the South Florida area, especially on the golf course, competing at a high level, not in football, but on the golf course, you could go check out the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational coming up next week. Next weekend, you're going to have guys like Lawrence Taylor in town, guys like Warren Sapp, guys like Jonathan Ogden, Calvin Johnson. Some of the great players in the history of the NFL will be playing alongside PGA Tour champions in the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational. And guess what? If you want some tickets, we're giving some away. A 4-pack grounds tickets that we are giving away in just a few seconds. Four tickets, grounds tickets as a group for any day. For any day. You get to choose which day you want to go, and all you got to do is call in. 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo. That's 888-760-3776. Call in to caller number 3 for 4 grounds tickets as a group for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational at Old Course in Broken Sound down in Boca Raton. 888-760-3776. Caller number 3 gets a 4-pack of tickets to the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational. We take a timeout to Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Saturday, April 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Kaiser University's flagship campus transforms into the ultimate auto showroom. The Kaiser University Auto Show of the Palm Beaches with vehicles from nearly every manufacturer. Enjoy a relaxed, no-pressure environment to find the car of your dreams. Plus, it's free. Saturday, April 5th at 2600 North Military Trail, West Palm Beach. Call 561-478-5500 or visit residential.kaiseruniversity.edu for details.
The new state-of-the-art showroom at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach is now open. And let me tell you, it's amazing. If you're looking for a brand new 2020 to 2025 Kia, there is something for you. Every car has so many awesome features, it will be hard to pick just one. Plus, the safety tech and that unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There's peace of mind in every mile. If you've been putting off car shopping, now's the time. Don't wait any longer. Get down to Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, trade keys, and drive home a new Kia today. So, which one will you choose? See my friend Lonnie Mister at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach and find out why there are more Kias on the road every day. Call 800-NEW-KIAS or Lonnie at 561-433-1511 and check us out online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, where your new Kia is waiting for you.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan man!
The playoffs are heating up, but your home shouldn't. Stay cool with EDS air conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can take advantage of 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong in sports, not in your home. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8 star rating, EDS is the name you can trust since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Game day comfort starts now. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Smart, sports, sharp wit, and zero tolerance for nonsense. Clinton and Friends hits the air weekdays, 10 a.m.
I'm listening.
Where Clinton Yates delivers top-tier takes, flawless Frasier quotes, and won't hesitate to call out sloppy phone work. Don't embarrass yourself, just listen.
Now, this microscope is so powerful that by firing electrons, you can actually see images of the atom. If I were using that microscope right now, I still wouldn't be able to locate my interest in your problem.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays at 10 on ESPN 106.3.
It's college basketball tournament time, and there's no better place to catch the action than at Hurricane Grill and Wings. With slam dunk specials like Miller Lite drafts for just $3.75, plus fresh, never frozen wings in over 30 flavors, and big screens everywhere. This is your home for all the games. Cold beer, handcrafted cocktails, bold flavors, big plays. Don't just watch the game, experience them at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in, we begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire. Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Live from Hurricane Grill and Wings in Boynton Beach, it's Russo and Rizzo, second hour here on ESPN 106.3 with Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Christian Catt. Miss any of the program? You want to listen back, listen to some John Fanta, who we had earlier on, talk a little college basketball. You can listen to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places, or on your radio dial, ESPN 106.3. If been a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine over at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, they're the type to fight for you. Let's call it like we see it. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. They're the best in the business for a reason. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes is one phone call. Take back control of your life today. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation now. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Christian Catt at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach, keeping us up over the air. We're outdoors in Boynton Beach. Christian, how you doing today? You good?
Doing spectacular. Shout out to my friend Nate in Port St. Lucie. He was our lucky caller that won the family 4-pack of James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame invitational tickets. It feels good to give someone something for free, so I'm in a good mood.
Tastes better when it's free. That's the old saying. So nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
But let's have some fun here. Let's do a little 5 at 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking Big Ten.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union.
Our Flagler Credit Union top 5 at 5. Wow. With Russo and Rizzo. Let's get to our first one.
Number 1.
Well, Kyle, the Arkansas Razorbacks blew a 16-point lead in the second half to the Texas Tech Red Raiders, 85-35. Arkansas losing to Texas Tech. There's, controversy during the game. Coach Calipari didn't call a timeout with 7 seconds left. Blowing a 16-point lead. Is this something, in your opinion, that is going to follow Cal around for a really long time? Is this one of those games,
You know what's interesting? No, because Calipari's got such a storied career, but because like you said, you're right. Thinking hindsight,
this has
been a successful Arkansas season. But is that more of a Texas Tech win or an Arkansas loss?
It's probably an Arkansas loss. To that point, being up 16.
Now, Texas Tech made improbable shots. They were excellent towards the end of the stretch. But I think towards the end, you're thinking, oh, my, what is Arkansas doing?
Well, what was your stat you gave me about the 16 points? The largest lead? Do you have that?
It was the second largest in the Sweet 16 with the 10 minutes remaining.
It's unbelievable.
Second largest in the Sweet 16.
And I'll throw my stat that I had. Coach Calipari, in the NCAA tournament, leading by 6 or more, was 35-0 in those games. 35-1 after last night. I think he should have called the timeout when DJ Wagner was going nowhere fast. I think it was rotten luck with his Ido. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. The free throw goes in and out 3 times, comes out. Texas Tech's player, who was 1 for 9 from 3 all game, rattles home at 3. You knew the game was lost there. So it stinks for Cal, but at the same time, man, I'm not going to sit here and say Cal is technically, challenged when it comes to coaching, that he can't do the X's and O's. I think he trusts his players to a fault, and you saw that happen last night.
Yeah, I don't want to discredit Texas Tech by any stretch because they've won a lot of different facets. They've won coming from behind. They've won getting to the basket like they did against Drake, and they also won shooting the lights out of the ball from three-point range. So I can't discredit them, but Arkansas letting up a 16-3 run, that hurts. Let's get what's next.
Christian, we got plenty of Sweet 16 action. Yep, we got plenty of Sweet 16 action coming up tonight too. Colin, Ole Miss, Michigan State, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, Auburn, Purdue, and Houston. We just got done talking to friend of show, John Fanta, and he was big on the train that Auburn might be the first number 1 seed to go down. Do you agree with John that Auburn could be the most vulnerable this weekend?
I think Auburn's got the toughest stretch here. I think Michigan, I'm surprised that line is like 7, 8.5.
It's 8.5, and I took Michigan.
I would take Michigan tomorrow.
I took Kyle, sorry to cut you off. I took Kentucky 4.5, homer bet. Michigan 8.5. I think those are all solid spreads.
Yeah, the Michigan, let's think about that for a second. If there's a theme about teams that are hot, because they were reeling towards the end of the regular season, then they lit it up in the Big Ten tournament, and then they continued that by getting out of the first weekend. Michigan's always been a pesky team in the tournament, always a good team in the tournament.
Yep.
They got 2 good bigs. Auburn is otherworldly talented, yes, but their best player is Janai Broom at center. And Michigan is adequately equipped to, I guess, at least step in front of that and hinder that ability to a degree. I think they're going to compete here as long as they don't turn the ball over and give the game away. I think they could be right there in the mix. So I would say Auburn is in the most trouble just off of the actual strength of schedule.
I would probably agree. I even think if they get past Auburn, they get past Michigan, Auburn probably has the harder game in the Elite Eight as well. I tend to agree there. Christian, we got some coaching news next.
Number 3.
So Kevin Willard, head coach of Maryland College, and I told you we had John Fanta on. John Fanta, big East guy. There's rumors that he's going to Villanova. This is one of the more bizarre situations I think we've seen. And now I say that, but then I'm going to take you to the NBA, and we're going to talk about a coaching situation there, and you're going to call me a fat liar. But this is a bizarre coaching situation in the sense of, how can't Maryland get the funds to fund a trip, an extra day in New York City? How can't Maryland, who pretends that they're a Big Ten powerhouse in everything, in football and basketball, not be able to pony up NIL? Colin, we've talked about it in the last couple of days. Your thoughts on the Kevin Willard situation and what's going on with Villanova?
Post-game yesterday, they asked him point blank, like, Kevin, how do you think you've handled the last few days? And he goes, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know anything that's going on. This is going to be a family decision. Once you hear that it's going to be a family decision, goodbye. Gone. See ya, Kevin. He is waiting till that plane lands, and Villanova will pick him up at the airport. That will be, it's the writing's on the wall, and it left the bad stain. I think Maryland actually played fairly okay in the game. They were probably just a little outmatched, didn't rebound well, didn't make a lot of adjustments. But, still, an ugly finish to that season. Now he's going to be hated by Maryland faithful after having a good season with them. So that's the takeaway with that, and I don't think he's handled it well with the media by any stretch.
And I did not know, and fair play to John Fanta, who came out with us, I did not know Willard was at Seton Hall and was a thorn in Jay Wright's side.
He was
it would make sense. It makes even more sense, I guess, the Villanova rumors. And do you agree with John? You think they become immediate contenders once Willard gets there?
No,
I don't agree with that either.
Now, they got a lot of money.
I don't agree with that either.
And he's a good coach, but, how great of a coach is he?
Right.
The teams are good in the regular season, but not a ton of postseason tournament success, which is what Villanova wants.
We saw Cal, Musselman struggle that final year before USC. We saw Cal kind of go to the Sweet 16 after, and I'm not saying they were deprived of talent. Arkansas, they had the Brazil kid.
They're 2 years removed from an Elite Eight run.
Sure, so I'm not sitting here trying to compare situations, but we have seen it, to Johnny's point, but I agree with you. I don't think so. Christian, let's talk about another bizarre coaching situation.
Number 4.
This one is Taylor Jenkins. And actually, my question is for Christian this time around. Christian Cat, with the firing of Taylor Jenkins, Colin needs 4 wins out of the last 9 games in order to cover his preseason bet on the win total he had for the Memphis Grizzlies. Is our very own Colin Russo going to cover that line? Christian Katz.
Yeah, you can start spending the money now. You're going to cover that. You're going to win the amount of wins you need to hit the over on the win total. I have full confidence the team is going to wake up and play for their interim coach.
So you like this? You think that this is going to light a fire under them at the perfect time?
I think it's got short-term games. Yeah, I think it senses urgency.
Not long-term, but yeah.
I think it's a all for one, one for all, where players are going to take control and right the ship. I like it.
They got the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Warriors in their next 3. Then they got the Heat on the road, and then they're playing Detroit, who is still vying for a good playoff seeding position there. And then they're also playing the T-Wolves and the Nuggets, who are desperately trying to stay out of the, or at least the T-Wolves, that is, desperately trying to stay out of the play-in. I'm a little nervous. I'm officially nervous.
This is a soccer saying, football saying, Christian, but I love your response. It's the new gaffer bounce, mate. It's the new manager bounce. They're going to play. Kyle, you're going to cover this. What do you?
I hope.
Now, I'm trying to think what Kyle spends money on. Go get some new dumbbells for your.
I don't have any dumbbells.
Well, what do
I buy?
What do you leisurely buy? Because me, video games, big screen TVs. I'm very easy. I'm your average typical male. I don't know what the hell you buy.
I just booked a plane ticket to Peru, so that's what I bought.
There you go.
Maybe I can help pay that off. That's what I did. I was telling people about
all
that.
All right. Christian, let's go to our next.
Number 5.
Peru? Partner, Peru? What's going on in Peru?
Machu Picchu's in Peru.
Okay.
So, funny enough, there's somebody that we work with that is from Peru. And I texted him saying that I was going to, an intern. And I texted him saying that I was going to go there. And he's like, are you going alone? I like the solo travel stuff. I'm going, yeah, I'm going alone. And he goes, oh my God, that's crazy. And he goes, don't be scared. It's pretty safe.
Oh, God. You want to know what that tells me, Christian? It's not safe, partner. You agree?
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
Christian, do you agree?
It's moderately safe.
Yeah, this is a put your wallet in your front pocket country. That's what it sounds like.
It doesn't seem like that, but it was funny. I'm going to Lima for only a day or 2, but I'm going to Machu Picchu, which is like a hike. So I'm doing that for like 5-6 days in July.
So Christian, I'm going to ask you your travel plans in a second here because I actually have some plans. Next Friday, I'm off, boys. I have a wedding in Chicago, the Davis wedding. My good buddy Mike Davis and the wonderful Michelle.
In the city?
In the city. So I'm staying at the Intercontinental downtown. It's going to be a lot of fun. After that, I'm going to the Florida Keys with my uncle and my cousin, and I'm taking a Friday in May off. And then I have my cousin Katie's wedding in July. No, Colin, are you aware? I have 16 vacation days. I was talking to our what do I call Anna? Our HR rep Anna, and she goes, Riz, you better use your days, because like she helped me.
Use them and lose them.
She said she helped me, Christian. She helped me take off this next Friday. She goes, she's like, you and Colin don't take days off. Take days off. So like now I'm mapping out an LA trip to go visit my godfather, Uncle Johnny, who lives in the Hollywood Studios, and Uncle Jamie, who lives in Encino. Christian, you got any trips coming up, buddy?
Going to Thailand. That's the next stop.
Oh, my God.
Have you booked it?
Dude, Thailand's unreal.
No, have not booked it yet, but that's definitely circled, and we're trying to work out the dates. I want to go during Christmas time so I can maximize my off days.
Take this for what it is, Christian. My buddy and one of my best friends went to Thailand. He goes, Riz, you're a pharaoh when you go to Thailand.
You gotta bring $500 and you're good.
You're gonna live like an Egyptian pharaoh in Thailand for $1,000.
It's expensive and difficult to get there, but once you're there, it's great.
He goes, Mike, get there. To your point, he goes, but if you have $1,000, you're gonna live like a pharaoh.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I don't know. So to your point, you're right. So I
also
feel like there's a good time.
Now you are the guy. I'm going to LA to see family. I'm going to Chicago because number one, I love the city too. My good buddy Mike Davis is getting married. Christian Collins' vacation is just like backpacking mountains, and dude, that's awesome.
I've never tried it.
That's awesome.
Hold on, I've never tried
that's
that.
Awesome.
We'll see how it goes.
You might inspire me to go to my hometown now. You guys,
it's a great way to just log off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's
and
logging
you guys,
off.
and especially with you and Christian making fun of me for never going to Sicily and claiming the Sicilian card. Maybe
Spend a week. You should go there.
Maybe I just go by myself, and I have family out there too, and I'll just stay with my family.
And you should just log off.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, log off.
I do have a trip coming up, not next week, but the week after, that I don't want to brag about. But someone came through in the family, and I will be at Augusta National Golf Club in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
What day?
On Tuesday. I'll be on the practice rounds.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, dude, it's still.
That's fine.
Christian, that's bucket list stuff, mate. That's good. Good by you.
Where are you staying? How are you planning that?
I'm going to fly into Savannah, Georgia, where I drive. We're going to stay in Savannah, drive across early in the morning. Dad's going to drive. He wakes up really early every day, so it's really easy for him. Then I drive.
Where does that drive?
About 2 hours.
No, that's not bad.
Drive back, stop in Charleston, see my mom, and then fly back on Wednesday night.
Nice, Christian.
That's great. You're going to enjoy that.
Is it just you? Is your significant other going with you as well?
Just me and my dad. That's it.
Nice, dude. That boys trip. Love it.
I like that. That'll be good. You'll enjoy that.
Yeah, no phones. No phones allowed, but you can bring digital cameras. So,
but I've heard that's great. It doesn't necessarily feel too buttoned up. My parents went last year, so that's why it's just fresh on my mind. They said it doesn't necessarily feel like over-police. It's just like, it's almost casual.
Got the word's out. It's not, I got you.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, I'm curious to hear about that. That was Christian Catt, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. Our 5 at 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union. We take a timeout here live from Hurricane Grill and Wings in Boynton Beach, Florida. Kicking things off, another timeout. Back into this on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
The college basketball mania has begun, and you could be on your way to see the championship game live on April 7th with Duffy Sports Grill's MVP March Mania giveaway. Every visit now through March 30th will earn you an entry. The more you visit, the better your chances to win. So grab your MVP card and head on over to Duffy's and enjoy their courtside favorites, famous award-winning jumbo wings, certified Angus beef burgers, and 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. At Duffy's, our game is always on.
March just got a whole lot sweeter at DQ Grill and Chill. Enjoy the blizzard of the month. Mint Oreo, packed with creamy mint and crunchy Oreo pieces. Want extra crunch? Try the new Crunchin' Oreo Cone Dip. Crispy, chocolatey perfection in every bite. And make sure you download the DQ mobile app. Now through April 6th, you can get an 85-cent blizzard by spending $1. Only redeemable through the DQ app. DQ Grill and Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Improve your golf game fast at the all-new Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center has the facilities, tools, and coaching you need. Enjoy the best facilities in the area with an expansive chipping and putting area, practice bunkers, a huge putting green, plus a 2,000 square foot indoor training area with 3 hitting bays, cutting-edge analysis technology, and more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center in the heart of Palm Beach County off I-95 and the Turnpike. Find out more at KaiserGolfCenter.com.
Marlins baseball is back on March 27th, and it's going to be a legendary opening weekend. Thursday, kick it off with Opening Day featuring Sandy's return, Dan Marino's first pitch, and a live concert by Luis Fonsi and Flo Rida. Friday, party like it's the 90s with DJ Laz and a limited edition Marlins windbreaker. Sunday, Jeff Conine becomes the first member of the Marlin Hall of Fame. The whole world is invited to this fiesta. Get your tickets today at marlins.com/tickets.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar and Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies, and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Introducing the bold, the powerful, the all-new 2025 Range Rover Sport P360 SE. A luxury SUV that commands attention with its refined design, dynamic performance, and cutting-edge technology. Lease the 2025 Range Rover Sport for just $12.99 per month for 36 months. Drive in style, power, and comfort, all for just $12.99 a month. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and take the new Range Rover Sport for a spin. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from Hurricane Grill and Wings in Boynton Beach, Florida, it's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 with Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Christian Cat with you. Missing the program today, we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Also on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. It's uploaded in podcast format on Russo and Rizzo. First things first, weirdly enough, we haven't done a lot of college football in the past couple weeks, but the biggest name in college football, Deion Sanders,
Coach Prime,
a big extension at Colorado. So any ideas of him going to Dallas, of him following his kid to the NFL, of him leaving that program mostly squashed as he inked a 5-year, $54 million contract extension that runs through the 2029 season. One of the highest paid coaches in the country, and that is going to be Sanders' base salary will now increase to $10 million, making the highest paid football coach in the Big 12 and the top 10 highest paid football coaches in the country.
Coach Prime, I love it. Keep him around college football. I think it's good. I think it's good for the sport.
Can the school afford it? Remember when they first hired him? They're like, I don't know if we'll be able to cut the check here.
Kyle, I got to say, and you're going to laugh at my source, an ex-girlfriend of mine, her dad is a big Colorado guy, and he's filthy rich. They got money. I know that program has money. I know
because your ex-girlfriend's father has money?
Correct, and he is a booster.
So therefore the school has money.
And he is a booster. And Christian, I told you guys you would laugh, but Christian, he is a booster, and he has friends that are filthy rich like him that went to Colorado. They got the money. They'll be all right. And the next thing I was going to say, I think it's good for the Big 12. I think it's good for the Big 12 to have a brand like Prime stay in there. We talk so much about these conferences. Can the ACC get back to relevance with Clemson and or Miami? Can the Big 12 kind of get up there with the Big 10 and the SEC as well? I think this helps the Big 12. Prime's going to get recruits. Prime's going to have good teams. And I know they didn't go to the Big 12 championship, and Scat Boo and Arizona State represented the conference with pride. But I think that Prime could be a household name for the Big 12 to count on for the college football playoff for years to come.
Yeah, I think it's worth it in terms of what he brings to the school. He is somebody who is bigger than almost bigger than college football itself. He is the biggest name in college football. No Saban around. He's bigger than any player. He's bigger than any other coach. He's bigger than Ryan Day. He's bigger than all these guys.
And remember the ridiculous rumors of he's going to Dallas, he's going here, he's going there.
Never put any of that thought into that beginning because he's recruiting other players.
Yes, and I think that.
Well, I wonder how he'll change too. You know, all that stuff that they post about him, with his sons. His sons are involved in every little speech he gives.
Show your mama you watch.
Right. He's not going to have the kids there anymore. I wonder how he will change as a coach.
They got a big-time quarterback. Now, it's
Julian Lewis is the kid's name.
Yeah, they got a big-time prospect. It's not, the Michigan kid, the Tavion St. Clair for Ohio State, but it's a good prospect. Like, it's a good quarterback that could certainly turn into something in a high-profile recruit. So I think he answered the bell of, do you want to stay at Colorado? He's got a great recruiting class coming in, and now he inks in a deal and he could feel comfy.
Now, the one thing I'll say is you're not paying a coach $10 million just to get a couple them in Colorado State week 3 of the season to have a very good game on ESPN primetime and generate a 6 million viewership. That is not the reason that you pay any coach $10 million a year for a 5-year extension.
Right.
You're doing this so you can compete and you can continue to advance to the highest level of college football, and that is the playoff.
Yeah,
and whether the playoff expands or not, he is going to need to start putting some, you got Shador in there, you got Travis Hunter, his Heisman. They're both going to be top 5 picks. Great. That was a success story.
It was.
He brought Colorado back. Colorado's now here. I'm not going to say there's a ticking clock because there's not, but the brand stuff and them being a big name just for the big name, not for the great team, it's going to get old pretty fast.
It is. And Colin, now that he got paid, right? Now that he got paid.
All this is behind him.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to have results.
It's all just football.
It's now result-based.
Your kids are not there.
Agreed. And, there is an agenda there. As much as Christian and I were on the whole, there's an agenda. Remember, what was it, the Heisman conversation you disagreed with us on? I'm sorry, mate. I thought there was an agenda for Travis Hunter and his son to win the Heisman or whatever. To your point, that's gone. It's all about winning games. All of a sudden, if you win 8 games and miss out on the playoff, make it $10 million a year, then my ex-girlfriend's father is going to look and go, what the hell am I paying for? And then you're going to be in some trouble.
Well, yeah, we're going to learn a whole lot more about who Deion Sanders is as a college football coach when he can't bring his own son, who is a top 5 pick in the draft this year. We'll see how we can develop somebody else. I feel like that's still left to be proven. You bring Travis with him.
Go ahead, Christian. Sorry.
How he's going to develop him. Yeah, you can recruit him. We saw that. Now I want to see how he actually plays and schemes up and actually commands a team.
Yeah. He's lucky enough that he was able to be at Jackson State and get them a bit of a tune-up, and him and Hunter just get them feet wet in college football and kind of gradually increase it. Now all of a sudden for a freshman or whether they're going to start a sophomore, whatever they're going to do, you're going to have to figure this out quickly. You don't have the benefit of raising your quarterback for 20 years and making sure that he's going to be at top of the game. You're going to have to develop this kid, and it's not just him because he's a defensive guy. He's got an offensive staff, but this is going to reflect on you, how well this kid develops. And you're going to have a 2 or 3 year win, 2 years before we're going to find out if this kid's any good or not.
And you mentioned the offensive coaches like Pat Shurmur, offensive coordinator. He was a head coach in the NFL. Wasn't a good head coach, but he was a good offensive coordinator in the NFL, and he's been a good coordinator at Colorado.
Terrible with the Giants.
Correct, and with the Browns, Cal. Jeez, oh man, don't even get me started there. I do trust him, though, to get a quarterback going and to get that program going. Honest to God, Colin, I'm rooting for Colorado. I'm rooting for Prime.
Now we're rooting for Colorado.
Now we are. I'm rooting for Prime. It's not that I wasn't. I just thought you get what I'm saying with the agenda stuff. The thing
There's a reason that them in Colorado State were night prime time on ESPN. There's a reason.
I don't get the agenda stuff because, yes, Deion Sanders' agenda is going to get either his son or semi-adopted son the Heisman. That feels like a pretty Loctite agenda.
Let me explain. I don't think the agenda was to win games. The agenda was to get those kids drafted in the top 5. Now that he's gotten paid, I go back to what I said earlier. There's no excuse to not win games now. You're not trying to get your son to be a top-tier quarterback in the NFL, and you're not trying to get his best friend, Travis Hunter, who you sold to go to Jackson State, to be a top pick. All of that stuff is coming to fruition. It is specifically about winning football games. That's why I'm rooting for Colorado in Prime now. I think he's good for college football. You know I'm a college football nut. It's my favorite. It's good for college football, and I think it's good for a conference like the Big 12. Listen, as much as I'm a Big Ten guy, Colin, I want these other conferences to survive. I want to have rivalries. I want to have intra-conference rivalries. That doesn't happen if teams like Colorado aren't good in the Big 12. With all due respect to the operations that are going on there in Big 12, Colorado's the biggest name.
Yeah, if we're going to put a definition to how Deion Sanders' first couple of years went at Colorado, it would not be he is an elite football mind. It is he is an elite marketer. He's an elite. He knows how to find talent, and he knows how to market his teams. He turned Colorado into must-watch television, not because Colorado was a top 10 team in the country, but because Colorado was polarizing and interesting. Colorado was controversial. Colorado said things, they were something new, something different, a different taste, and it was fun. That is why he was great. He was a marketer, and he had great players. He had 2 elite players on the roster, and then he basically took that and master marketed his way up to the top.
Right.
When the team was nowhere near the top last year, or even the year before when they got killed against Oregon in that Week 4 game.
And there are levels to building a program. The first year, what they won?
But that's the definition of his first 3 years.
It is.
Tenure,
It is
2 years.
It is 2 years. And I was about to say, the first year you win 4 games. All right, you didn't win any games last year. It was success. You were in the national spotlight. College game day was in Boulder. It was great. This past year, you get a Heisman Trophy winner. You win 8 games. You go to a bowl game. Now it's time to take the next step, which in my opinion is the college football playoff. And
you don't pay somebody $10 million to not get that.
And competing for a Big 12 championship, a conference championship. Be in the game, Christian. Be in the conference championship game. Be in the conversation.
So, Colin, what I'm hearing from you is like Colorado can't just become an NFL factory. It can't just be getting guys drafted. That cannot be the Coach Cal of the college football world. He needs to be winning games.
I would say,
but
yes.
Justice for Calipari. 6 Final Fours, a national championship, and a Sweet 16 this year, guys. Come on.
But I'm talking about the last 7 or 8 years. Last 6 or 7 years. That is what he has been. Have they been better at providing talent or winning games?
All right. It's hard.
That's fair.
It's fair, but I think, Christian, I like the question, but I think it's different on a number of levels. I think it's different because football, there are only 12 teams that get in. Calipari had a lot more chances to go deeper and to get into the tournament. It's harder to get into this.
Calipari was hyper successful when the one and dones was the new wave of college basketball, and then once it kind of shifted out of that and transfers became the new and experience became the new, I guess, the golden star of college basketball. Calipari made the conscious decision to not really abide by that and was still going to. He said it the other day. He said it 2 days ago. How these freshmen deserve scholarships. He was talking about how 5-star freshmen still deserve to be on teams. He says that because the truth is in the pudding that. The freshmen can't get you to the promised land, but these freshmen can still get drafted because they're still great players, and he's the one-and-done factory. But I'm not saying that's the same thing as Colorado. I'm just saying paying him $10 million, it's a little different in the college basketball side of things, but with college football, if the whole campus, everybody who is a Colorado aficionado doesn't care that there are so many NFL players on the field. They're not going to care eventually. They care because it's the honeymoon phase. Now that the honeymoon phase is over, the definition of how he has ran his first 2 years shouldn't be that he is more of a marketer, he is more of a name than they are a team.
Yeah.
That needs to change. And Dion is a great name. He's a great marketer and the whole thing. But the team needs to follow that. And it hasn't yet. It's been the player and the name. And that has been Colorado, and if you're paying him $10 to $11 million without his son there, that's where you're going to need to change.
And he's been paid, too. I go back to the paid factor. Now it's
$55 million.
Now it's time to show results. Now
$55 million.
We invested money. We're giving you NIL money. We got, every booster and their brother donating to the cause. It's time to get to the playoff. It's time to compete at the national level.
Think about Colorado's schedule. They open with Georgia Tech. They got Delaware, Houston, Wyoming, BYU at home, at TCU, Iowa State at home, at Utah, Arizona at home, at West Virginia, Arizona State at home, and then at Kansas State. If you can't win 10 games with that schedule, 9-10 games with that schedule, and you're making $11 million, it's a problem. You're going to have to pay a price. That will be a problem to the fan. They will get sick of that really fast. Listen, I'm doubting him, and he doesn't have Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders anymore. Let's see if he could replicate some magic.
The game that comes to Arizona State, all right, if you lose that one, they're going to be solid again next year. Every other team you named me, I think Colorado will be the favorite in, especially with the home games, like BYU at home. Okay, you said Utah at home. So you're going to be favorites in those tougher matchups, and I think Utah's going to be good. I know
Utah's on the road. Iowa State is at home.
That's it,
and they got back.
That's it. You'll probably be a dog at Utah. You'll be a favorite.
So the bottom
Iowa
line is
State.
You can't get away with an 8-win season with that schedule.
Agreed.
You can't do that.
Agreed.
Can't do that. We roll on here at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat with you. We'll do a little Hard Rock Bet picks of the night to send you off into the weekend. Some Sweet 16 action, some baseball all weekend. You got the NBA Grizzlies do or die time for Colin Russo's over. Stick around as we close out the program next on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Something amazing is happening at work. Innovative tools are helping people do better work. That's because CDW configuration specialists are multiplying productivity with Microsoft Windows 11 Pro Surface devices. Built-in security, flexibility, and simplified management streamline tasks so your team can get more done. Microsoft and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/surface.
This is ESPN 106.3, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
It's the Hard Rock Bet Battle of the Bets. 2 bets facing off. Winning side splits $250K in bonus bets every single day. Time to pick a side. Team underdogs or team favorites. Team over or team under. There's one way to settle this. Hard Rock Bet Battle of the Bets. Pick a side for $1. Win your share of $250K or more today. Prize pool will be paid out in bonus bets, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
A Friday edition of the program, March the 28th. Boy, did March fly by. 2025, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3, live from Hurricane Grill and Wings in Boynton Beach. Big thanks to Hurricane Grill and Wings for having us out a beautiful Friday evening as we got some high-flying, high-octane action on the Sweet 16 side of things and then the Elite 8 throughout the weekend with also opening day yesterday. Hurricanes, I mean, I'm talking about this. This is a Friday, 5:46 p.m., and the outdoor bar is packed. Everybody's out here having a good time watching sports, and it's such a casual, fun, inviting environment over at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Come on down to the Boynton Beach location. They got locations all over South Florida, so go check them out today. Hurricane Grill and Wings. They got replays of the Sweet 16 from last night, and everybody's locked in. That's how fun everybody. That's how much fun's everybody
Dude, the
has.
wings are unreal here too.
Yeah, good food.
Oh
Very
my
good
God,
food.
The chicken wings are to
Very
die
good
for.
food.
I'm getting some to go.
Very good food.
Having a little cheat meal.
They have the good
tonight.
loaded fries too with the garlic.
Dude,
very good.
Kyle, we could do some real damage here.
Very good, very good. Let's do a little Hard Rock Bet picks of the weekend. Mike and I go head to head.
It's no longer Russo and Rizzo.
I'm going to trust the team that's undefeated on the road this year.
It's a meaningless game.
That's my 2 cents, Colin.
It's Russo versus Rizzo.
Let's talk this out. Why put yourself behind the 8 ball? What, for pride?
Reputations are on the line. Egos will clash. Feelings will get hurt.
Now I'm going to be very pissed off.
Who's a sharp and who's a square?
What did I miss? What in the hell did I miss?
Time for Picks of the Night. Russo versus Rizzo. Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
So here's the thing about how this goes. My old mantra is that I do not like making an emotional bet. An emotional bet will burn you. I made an emotional bet last week around this time when I chose Troy to cover plus 12.5 or 11.5, whatever it was, against Kentucky in the first round. And Troy, and I hadn't watched Troy once all year. I just did it off a theme. Troy stinks.
They got smoked.
Troy is terrible. Oh my goodness, they were trying anything and nothing was working. Oh my goodness.
And in response to him going against my favorite, college basketball team, I took his team, UConn, and they covered. So poetic justice. Mike Rizzo up 1, Colin Russo down 1.
All right, you're leader in the clubhouse. What's your first?
You
pick?
want me to go?
What are you
Okay,
taking
you want me to go first?
Yes.
I'll make it interesting for you. I'll go Michigan 8.5.
It's a great pick.
Fanta and I
love that.
Fanta and I were on the same wavelengths there. One of our interns, intern M. Joe, she was asking me what I like today, Michigan and Kentucky. Actually, you know what, Kyle? Christian, you there? Can I switch? I'll switch because I'm a nice guy. I'll go.
I don't want to take Michigan now. I'm not taking a handout. I don't want to
take Michigan.
Auburn's going to win by that by 30.
If you like the pick, take the pick.
I was going to take.
I don't like it. If you like the pick, take the pick.
All right,
that's fine. I'll go take something else.
I was going to switch to Kentucky 4.5. I'll go Michigan 8.5.
Michigan 8.5. I'm not touching that Kentucky-Tennessee game. I agree with you that maybe Kentucky has Tennessee's number, but it's very hard to beat a team 3 times.
I think they
especially
cover
a team
the
with
number.
that good defense.
I don't know who's going to win or lose, but I think Kentucky would cover the number.
It's a very tricky game,
It is.
especially if Kentucky's offense is not firing and it's going to be a defensive-minded battle. That's right in Tennessee's wheelhouse. We'll see how that operates there. So other than that, I can't touch the Michigan game. I got Ole Miss, Michigan State. Michigan State's favored by 3.5 in that one. And the other one is you got Purdue and Houston, and Purdue is plus 8.5 against Houston.
You could go baseball. We got a full slate of baseball this weekend.
You burned us with the athletics.
Don't even give me.
You burned us with athletics to win on the money line.
How about Leclerc? I stayed up and watched. We were all staying up. But
jeez,
Colin, Leclerc comes in the 8th. They're up 2-1. Hey, Jose. Maybe not throw a meatball fastball right down the middle to a fastball.
95, yeah.
Unbelievable. I could not believe what unfolded in that 8th inning. Go ahead.
Ridiculous. I completely agree. Leclerc was a mess.
And it was your new acquisition.
You were 2 outs away from getting to Mason Miller and being secured a victory.
Correct.
Oh, God, whatever. Yeah, I agree.
Leclerc.
Classic ace.
Classic Leclerc.
Good start. How about the Seattle Mariners getting some run support for once?
Victor Robles is their leadoff hitter.
They got a Rosarena who had the bat flip of all bat flips
he pounded it. He spiked his bat into the ground.
I'm not high on Purdue. I think especially Houston's guard defense is quite good. I'm going to take Houston minus 8.5 here.
Good bet.
I'm going to take Houston minus 8.5.
It's a good bet. Purdue.
I do not know how to read this Ole Miss game. Part of me thinks Ole Miss is very pesky, very experienced, and that they're going to do a very good job against Michigan State. But again, this is pesky versus pesky. This is a good NCAA tournament coach versus good NCAA tournament coach in Izzo versus Beard. I don't like that game at all. I'm staying away from that.
I agree, and I think Purdue's going to be outmatched. Who did Purdue play, Colin? McNeese State and High Point.
Yeah.
Those are the two. And listen,
fans have put it right. They're going to be guarding them once, get off the bus, especially guard defense.
Agreed.
They're going to be all over them.
They're outmatched. I want to give credit to Matt Painter, though. Matt Painter, head coach of Purdue, who turned Purdue into actually, they had good teams in the 80s. Got Purdue back on the map. Matt Painter has been to 6 Elite Eights in 8 years. 6 Sweet 16 in 8 years. It's a really good coach.
Absolutely.
But he will be outmatched with the Houston step. There's something about Sampson in that squad this year. There's something about Sampson in that squad
they're
this
due.
year.
That's the thinking. They're due.
There's a collision match. I know you guys you and Johnny liked Alabama in that their chances at least against Duke. I think it's a collision course for Houston and Duke. I think Duke's
gonna beat Alabama quite a bit. Now, if Alabama's hitting like they were, what are they going to hit 25? What are they going to hit 25 threes again?
Right. And the collision course, I meant to say the Final Four. Obviously, Alabama and Duke are going at it in the Elite Eight. I think it's a collision course for Duke and Houston in the Final Four. That'll be a hell of a game, Colin.
The Alabama team, they made 25 threes yesterday. Mark Sears made 10 threes. 10 threes is an NBA number. That is not a college number. 25 threes. It sounds pedestrian if you're thinking in the NBA terms, but these are college kids. These are playing in a 40-minute game.
But Alabama has been known to lay a stinker, too. If those threes aren't going in, mate, it's going to be a close game of Robert Morrison. So, and that was the toughest game they played all tournament, that first-round game against Robert Morrison.
Fresh off a Final Four bid, maybe they were just trying to get out of that first weekend. I agree, though.
Maybe.
They're going to need to play flawlessly to beat Duke. Similar to Florida, and maybe even similar to Houston. You might have 3 teams left in the field that you need to play flawlessly to beat. And Florida, Maryland played them tough, and Florida didn't even play well. Florida had 13 first-half turnovers against Maryland yesterday. Yep. 13. They had like 17 turnovers in the game. And and they didn't play flawlessly. They basically begging Maryland to beat them, and they couldn't.
You mentioned Florida and some of the other 1 seeds. Kyle, give me out of 100%, give me the percentages that we're going to get all 1 seeds in the Final Four. Where are you at on this? You want to know what I put it at? With how good Houston's look, with how good Duke's look. The one I'm not sure about is Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn's the one you're not sure about because they get the best field around them.
I think it's 60-40.
They got the best field around them.
I would go 60% 1 seeds are all there, 40%.
Oh, let me take that action. Come on.
60-40.
Fork it over
60,
for me
40.
on that. You think there's a 60% chance that every single one seed's in the Final Four?
Is in the Final Four. I would probably put it at 60%.
We've
Christian.
got words to talk about after the show.
60% chance
that all the one
60%
seeds are
chance
in the Final
that you
Four.
get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games correct. 6 1 seeds to win. You got to win the Elite 8 games, and you got to win 2 Sweet 16 games.
I'd put it 60-40 with the way
so
the
it's
one
a
seeds have
60%
looked.
chance that 6 games go a certain direction.
I think so.
Wow.
With how good Duke's looked, with how good Houston's looked, and Houston, I think, with all due respect to my Kentucky Wildcats, if they're able to pull it out against Tennessee, I don't think either of those teams stand a chance against Houston, and I don't think either of the teams stand a chance against Florida either.
Now, the one
I think
thing
the
about
Florida
Houston,
and Florida, I think Florida booked their trip to the Final Four the moment they came back and beat UConn.
I still
as far
think
as
Houston's
I'm
got a little Houston in them in the sense that their offense
They get
can't
to the
save
Elite
them.
Eight, dude. They get to the Elite Eight,
True,
though.
they're good, but when their
They get to the
offense
game.
needs to save them, not sure how much I rely on that.
Okay.
When their offense needs, this is the Houston of old, and maybe this is a different Houston team, but when their offense needs to save them with Cryer and company, can they do it? I could trust it with Duke. And I didn't trust it going into the tournament, and then you realize how much better Flag has gotten in the last 3 months.
Oh, my God, dude. Their whole team.
And
Proctor.
Florida has the ultimate closer. Florida, Duke, and Auburn have probably the 3 best players in the tournament.
Yep.
Houston doesn't.
They don't, but they have a group that's been together for a while and arguably the best coach. Arguably the best coach that's left. Would you agree? That's left?
Izzo, and then you're probably entering into Samson territory.
I agree.
So I would say Izzo.
That's why I said arguably, but
yeah.
Boys, I think Izzo might be in trouble tonight. Colin, did you watch Sparty? Did you watch Sparty's first 2 games?
Yeah,
they weren't that dude. They didn't.
But they're deep, and they don't beat themselves.
I hope they win.
They do the little things right. But the thing is, Ole Miss was firing against Iowa State. Older team. They play a lot of guards. It's going to be a guard-heavy lineup. I'm very curious. That's a very intriguing game. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I have no idea what direction that one's going to go.
I would take Ole Miss with the spread. If I had to take the points, I'd take Ole Miss, and I think Michigan State would pull it out. But remember, I said that. A little nervous. I don't think Michigan State played their best.
They don't have a star.
They don't have a go-to.
They don't have a star, but they're 10 deep, and I think that's dangerous. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo with you. Hurricane Grill and Wings. Appreciate them having us out. We'll be back at it on Monday, 4 to 6 p.m. Big thanks to Christian, Russo, and Rizzo. ESPN 106.3.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that